Alright, I think I'm going to label this video, "Your problems are not my problem." You know, problems with a B, without the B. So, I was editing this video and I thought I'd go ahead and talk about it because I got a 75 horsepower Merc, right? And the guy brought it to me, first time boat owner, bought a pontoon boat. It's got an old, it's a 1984 Mercury 75 horsepower engine, and so it wasn't charging. He brought it to me saying, well, it runs, but it's not charging. So I put a new stator on it, and I'll show that, and fire it up, get it running good. I send it off with him, and he puts it on the water, and he calls him back, and he says, yeah, this thing won't run. Well, lo and behold, you know, he had talked to me about what type of oil and stuff he should run, and I sent him pictures, showed him the container, said where to go get it, all of that stuff, how much to measure, you know, gave him specific instructions, right? So the guy's too lazy to go get it, so he just picks up any 2-cycle oil, like, you know, for your weed eater. Yeah. And so then he calls me up and he says, hey man, this thing won't run. And so then he brings it back to me, and you know, it's locked up. And I'm like, what in the heck did he do? So I look, and he throws the top wrist pin on his top cylinder, and it's locked up. So I contact the guy and I tell him, I say, look, you know, this thing is gone, and I got you two options. You get a new engine, which is what he should have done, because he could spend the money and put it towards a new engine. You know, I mean, he acts like he's got all the cash in the world, so I'm like, just go get another engine. And but he's adamant about, oh, I want to fix this one, you know. And I tell him that, well, the only option is if I can maybe possibly get another power head. And since it's so old, it's going to be really difficult to find one. Well, lo and behold, I call a buddy. He's like, yeah, I actually got one of those. So he had a 75, and my buddy's got an 80 horsepower, same engine, right? So I contact him back, say, you know, I actually found a power head. And he's like, well, let's do it. Let's swap them. So I swap them, right? I swap them, and of course, you know, he's got a bad trigger. He's got a bad power pack. I mean, just like everything. And I told him this. I said, man, you know, I don't know. Something caused this, and it's probably electronic. You know, you could have to replace all your electronics. He said, I don't care. I want it just brand new. I'm like, okay, but we don't know what we're getting into. So we swap all that out. I mean, the guy, you know, he spent like $2,500 probably. And if he would have paid me, yeah, that's the thing. He didn't pay me. He owes me $1,000. You know, so I swap everything out. You know, he takes it over to his house, and then I went over there and just checked it out. Just get ready to take it to the lake. He pulls it out. You know, he's in a yard, just got a hole. He pops his tire, bends the rim. So I tell him where to go get the tires. You know, I changed the tires for him because I feel bad for the guy. I mean, he's like put all this into it. Send him off. I watch him sail away. Call him the next morning. He tells me, man, I had a great night. You know, it ran awesome, you know. So then I'm thinking, all right, we're good, you know. Now we talk about settling up. Calls me the next day, and he's like, man, this won't run. I'm like, what? You know, so I don't know. He's saying the bulb was not staying hard, and I'm like, well, look, just let me look at it. I was like, you need to get it on the trailer, get it out of the water, because he's got a slip at a local marina, right? So instead of pulling it out of the water, he puts it in the slip. And then he expects me to go work on it, which I don't know if you know, but most marinas, they will not let you work on stuff because they don't want fuel in the water or something could cause a fire. So and they don't want to be responsible. So I took my gas can. It was a good gas can. I go out there because he does have a tank, kind of an issue. He's got 2 tanks. It's just wide and to a fuel bowl connect to the engine. And so I go there with my fuel tank. Everything is disconnected. He's got the kill switches on the off position, you know, so he was probably cranking the engine over with the kill switch, you know, on, which means he probably fouled out the plugs. So I just grabbed my fuel tank and I come back to the thing, and he didn't even go out there with me. And I tell him, not only that, but like all the wiring has been kind of moved around, and you know, the front plate is off of it. I don't know what he's done to this engine. You know, I'm like, man, you should have put trailered it and just brought it to me and I would have fixed it, right? So I'm like, here's your keys, you know, you're gonna have to get it off the water. The guy wants me to tow it. I'm like, I'm not towing your boat. You know, I'm not a tow company. I'm sorry. You should have put it on the trailer whenever you had the chance. So, and then he wants me to pull his boat, and because he thinks it's my fault. You know, when he took it out and he tore it up, he did something. Obviously, he did something. I don't know what he did. You know, and so then, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. He gets mad. He storms off, and then he goes and he besmirches me right in front of me. And I'm like, this has gone too far. And at that point, man, I just wrote it off. I said, I'm not gonna worry about the money the guy owes me. And if it would have been a lot of money, I would have just done something about it. But yeah, so the guy just left us sitting there, and I'm just like, you know, this guy, man, I tell you, you know, some people, it's like, learn how to operate your boat. I told him he needed to get a tachometer because the tachometer's not working. It's so old it wouldn't work. And I'm like, you don't know what you're running. You don't know how many RPMs. You probably blow it again. And so anyway, you'll see that. You'll see me replacing stuff in the video, but it's really annoying. 99% of the people that I've worked on boats for have been great. They paid me, and I've made everything work, and I've had no issues. I get this guy, and he's a complete moron. I'm sorry. You know, I wish him the best, but that's ridiculous to put the onus off on me when you're the one that went out and messed it up. And then besides that, I don't know what you did to it. After I fixed it all, and I come and it's all like basically apart, I'm like, who messed with this? Did he just disconnect something so that it wouldn't run, so he didn't have to pay me? I don't think so, but I don't know. You know, so anyway, there's my little 2 cents. It's like, I guess what I'm saying is learn how to run a 2-cycle outboard. You know, learn how to run outboards, period. 2-cycle, 4-cycle, it don't matter. You know, if you're going to go out and abuse them and have somebody come back, bring it back to somebody and have them fix it, you know, don't blame them because you tore it up. Okay, I've got a 75 Merc on a pontoon boat. It's kind of more of a, probably 80s, I guess. Looks pretty decent, but it's not charging. So for the charging circuit, he's replacing the stator. So that's what I'm doing to this one, is replacing the stator. I already got the flywheel off. And just so you know, FYI. Alright, took the flywheel off. Get, you know, an impact wrench, 15/16. And then what you're going to do is take the nut off. Okay? And then you're going to get a magnet. You're going to get a magnet. And you're going to pull this washer off. Right? If you don't pull that washer off, just a tip, it ain't coming off. And then what you want to do is get a puller, put this on top of your, put the bolt slightly back on, right? So the flywheel just doesn't go flying somewhere, right? Put the bolt back on, then you're going to use this and put it on top of it, and then you're going to use the puller. You're going to just put that in there on the flywheel, and then just take an impact wrench and tighten this down, and it should come right off. And then you'll just take the nut off, and then the flywheel will pull it right off. Did for the screws, he's only got 3. Usually there's 4 screws, at least 4. And here's the last one. I've already taken a couple out, right? So what I need to do is take this one out. So to do that, what I got, I just have an impact socket, right? With a, usually, you know, it's whatever you want to put in there. It's usually like screwdriver things or whatever, but this will fit, okay? So when you put this down in this screw, they're usually kind of rusted. So you'll find, I mean, it takes them out really good, but you'll find now this is stuck. So what you're gonna have to do is, you can try it with vice grips. It's probably not gonna work. I'm gonna put it in my vise, and I'm gonna loosen this top piece till it comes loose. It's a pain, but that's what you gotta do if you want them to be like, you know, because usually stators don't come with new screws. I like the look, but pretty sure of it. We'll put this like this. And then I'm just going to get something that I can kind of jiggle it out. I got an old screwdriver like this. Oh, and then I'll drop it. Okay. So then I'll take the other one out, and then I'll be ready to replace the stator. Just gonna go and just kind of make sure it's, because they get rusted, make sure it's in there, and then I'm gonna take my impact and bring it out. So it's kind of hard to hold the camera while I do that. So I'm going to take that out, and then I'll discuss the wiring. Alright, so for this one, we're going to take that screw out. Watch where I'm touching here. That screw out, and then this is our line coming down. So in this line you got two blues, 2 reds, 2 yellows. So the 2 yellows are going to go over here to your rectifier, and you're going to have, where's that? 2 blues down here and goes somewhere. Alright, let me show you my setup. These new stator, this one's going to be like right in the middle, and you're going to line up the holes. And then for my setup, there's the old stator, by the way. And then my setup, you know, when you put the screws in, puts a blue Loctite on them, and then I'm just using a 1/4-inch driver, you know, with my little thing on a 1/4 inch, and So that'll just go in there, but I'm going to put some Loctite on every one of the bolts so it doesn't come out. Alright, so it's kind of update time. So this one, it's going to be hard to see. Get some light. This one blew a rod. And you might be able to see down in there. You can kind of see the rod just laying in there. And then blew a hole in the intake. This is number one. And we know why. But I won't say why because new boat on there. He thought he could just run any kind of 2-cycle oil. And he just didn't know. But basically, you know, he put like regular 2-cycle oil not made for outboards, and anyway, he blew it. So that's one thing. I went ahead, I didn't film any of this, but I swapped all the electronics and everything over to a new power head. So I just got to put the carbs on and the starter, drop it in the engine. You know, I'll probably do that first. So I'm going to, you know, kind of tie wrap this all up when I install it. Alright, there's red one over there and this nice white one over here. This one I think is 12 gallons. And so up here on the top, up there is the fuel outlet, and it's a quick disconnect, so I want to get rid of that. So I guess just gotta take it out, and then here's the fitting, and that fitting's just not very good. So put a barb on it, you know, it'll come out of that T there. So I just got to match it up, and then run holes across. It had, I don't know, there's a set there that went there, but I could come off of that. There's a T, wherever the T is. They had, to each line, they had quick disconnects, a whole bunch of stuff that was like not needed. I think the T is on this other one. They had 2 fuel bulbs. You don't need that. You just need one. So that's like more. See how they had a. Just make sure I get this. See, they had a shutoff valve and then a T. I can reuse the T. Got some new fuel line. You know, I'll go from there to the T, and then one fuel bulb, just one. It'll be in the middle, going down to the engine.
I